talk. My name is Lisa Parisi. Thank you for joining us today as we continue our year-long look into literacy and enjoying literacy with children. We have our mystery reader for us here today, who is someone near and dear to our hearts. Her name is Cathy Power. Cathy is an RECE. She is a agency supervisor of our Barrie location for the past 19 years. And before that, she was a home visitor for We Watch for about 9 years. So a long, wonderful career with us at We Watch. And so she is actually our mystery reader and has read our book for this month, which is Pete the Cat, which is a fun book. We have Halloween coming up on Monday. So this was a great opportunity to marry literacy with some Halloween fun. Cathy's in the spirit with her ears set up there. So thank you for joining us today, Cathy, and thanks for being our mystery reader this month. You actually recorded 2 videos, am I correct?
I did. Yes, I did. You're in for some fun surprises. So good morning, everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
I think you'll enjoy the surprises in my videos for sure.
Excellent. Yes. So very creative, some creative reading for us there. So right after this week, talk live, we're going to have those videos up for you all. So Cathy, I thought maybe we would talk a little bit about, I know you're an avid reader, you love reading, you love reading with the kids and also on your own. Maybe just talk a little bit about literacy and, how you developed your love of reading.
So my love of reading, I have to say, started in my childhood with my mom. So my early years were in the early 1970s. So that's kind of the era where everyone knew 50 recipes to make something out of hamburger, and we all went to the library. So my mom took us to the library every week, and I discovered a world of adventure there. So, and I've done that with my children when they were growing up too. We went to the library all the time, and they remember the same sort of fun atmosphere too. So early literacy is so important because it really does build success later in life. And when you start young with children, it definitely develops a love for learning, adventure, education. So.
Yeah, it is excellent. I do have lots of memories growing up in the same era of our public library as well. There was story time there. I remember, we had a really cool area with bean bags and stuff, and we used to just go there and read books in the bean bags. It was wonderful. And yes, a lot of my summers were spent reading in the library and in the backyard as well. So love that story. So Cathy, you have a great experience, as I mentioned, as an RECE in childcare, and you recorded the video 2 different ways, which is a great way to show people how to make a book exciting for children and how it doesn't just have to be straight reading, but you can kind of take it up a notch to make it a little bit interesting. Do you want to give the providers and parents maybe some tips or ideas for things you could do?
Sure. I even brought some props with me today.
Excellent. I love props.
So something that I found when I was actually taking my early childhood education program. So I've had this book with me for a long time. It's a draw and tell book. I have used it before, but basically the concept behind draw and tell stories is that as you're telling the story orally, obviously, that you actually end up doing bits and pieces at a time so that you end up with a picture at the end. So this particular story is about a child who's looking for Alexander. So this is who Alexander is, but the kids don't know because you start off with your little bits of stories. So this is the balloon in the park, and then there's a butterfly. So each element gets added until at the end you end up with and then the bear. So then you ask the children. So throughout the story, the theme of the story is can't find Alexander, and then whatever character he's come across is, what is Alexander? So at the end of the story, you ask the children, what is Alexander? And so now they know because they can see the bear. So just another fun way to involve children in story times, and very simple. It doesn't have to come from a book. You can sort of make up your own stories. You can find them online. So that's one way.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love that. I hadn't heard of that before, and I really like it. So you're saying that there is some, if you look up draw and tell, you'll find some templates online, maybe just to get people started.
Yes, you can definitely do that. Yep, for sure.
Okay.
Another fun way to tell a story is with props. So
Yeah.
here is my ancient glass peanut butter jar, but you can use any kind of a bear jar. And
Yeah.
if you don't have a bear jar, you can put a bear face on a jar, or the little honey jars can be used. But in this storytelling, it's about a polar bear. And the polar bear is so it's a bit more of an involved story, but I'm going to give you just a little brief bit of it. So basically, the polar bear is sees a girl with beautiful golden hair. So then you don't necessarily have to show the children that you're adding the drops, but you just add a drop or two of yellow, and you tell the children to close their eyes and wish really hard, and that's when you put the drops in, and then the bear turns yellow, so a little swish around, and then the children get to give the rhyme, which is polar bear, this doesn't seem right. Your fur is supposed to be white. So then polar bear gets really sad. So then he's walking around, and then he sees, something very green and beautiful. So he wishes for his fur to be green. So then you get the children to close their eyes really tight and wish with the bear, and you add your blue in, and then all of a sudden he gets green. So just a little swish around. And then same thing with red, because then he wishes to be brown. So again, very abbreviated version of the story. So then at the end of the story, the polar bear is really sad because he's really not what the children are saying. He's not polar bear, polar bear. So the children get to recite the rhyme throughout. So it's very interactive. So then you tell the children to close their eyes and wish really hard for poor polar bear. And then you use the little magical ingredient, and you pour it in, and he goes back to white. So basically, that's another fun way to tell a story, and bring in the magic of science. And then, of course, there's felt board stories, which you'll see in one of my videos. So lots of fun, different ideas and ways to enact stories in different ways, puppets, things like that. You can use puppets with its mate, or masks, enacting stories too. So lots of different fun ways to involve children in literacy.
That's wonderful. Those are really great ideas. I like the little masks. It also gives them a creative outlet by making the masks and then acting out the stories. They can make alternative endings to the story, all kinds of things that you could do. I love the idea of the felt board too. It's really, we had, I forget what month it was, but it was the Hungry Caterpillar, and we had a home visitor reading that as our mystery reader, doing a felt board kind of story. Maybe it was a paperback princess. It was one of them that we had this year. But I noticed on your video that people are going to see after this call, you did the felt board as well. Did you just cut out those shapes yourself? Like, how did you?
So I do some creative cheating. I'm not super talented in the artistic department, but I'm very talented with creativity. So I do a lot of cheating. So I went to the dollar store and I got cutouts of pumpkins and things like that. I also got some stickers. So these kind of things were all cut out. So I didn't have to cut any of this out. I found, shapes to do different things. Some of it I cut out a little bit myself, and some of it I just embellished. I also found some stickers, and it was really easy, especially for Halloween. So much Halloween stuff out there. So just to take a sticker and add it to a piece of felt, so that you just have, just add it to a piece of felt and then cut it out around the sticker, and voila, you have a felt board, like a really simple felt board that way. So
Love it. Love it. I love it. It's tactile.
There's some
Uh,
stickers
there.
on my felt. Yes.
Excellent.
There you
So
go.
it's good for those who are very artistic and those who aren't so artistic.
It's
It's
got to be creative.
really good ideas of getting creative. Yeah. And it's some great ways to really bring children in. And so, Cathy, maybe a last question, because there's been a lot of great tips just about how to engage children when they're not listening, you're trying to do a story time, or any other challenges as an RECE, maybe that you came up with in your past or present where
Sure.
children aren't necessarily paying
So
attention.
So there's some basic things like really involving children in your story, even as simple as getting them to turn the page for you. If you've got, 4 or 5 children sitting around and they know they're each going to get a turn to turn that page, they're really paying attention because they don't want to miss their turn.
Good
Changing
one.
names in your story. So maybe it's not Pete the cat, maybe it's Elizabeth the cat. So just bringing the children into the story, excuse me, changing your voice up and down. So, whisper talking so that
Right.
they really have to pay attention, or making your voice really loud and exciting, adding some music, making some of the words maybe singing, choosing books with rhyme and repetition so children can be involved in that way. So those are great ways to like really involve them into the story. And also, when you have a book and a child who's not a great listener, there's no rule that says you have to read every word on every page. Maybe you need to try and transition them into the book. So you start with Pete the cat, you pick a couple of pages, you maybe make up your own words, your own story, and that's it. Story's done, and that child's had success. So as you slowly build that success up, maybe you'll get to read a whole book or a different book or involve them in a different way. Another thing is props. So putting on cat ears, a small little thing like a spider ring, a
It
little
is very
detail
good.
like that captures the children's attention. They're just like fascinated and they're like, why is she wearing that? A mask, tell a story through a mask. So, what they get excited about that. Other ways to engage children in stories too, beyond the book, is to make a story bag. So
Ooh,
yeah, so you can have, different pieces in there so that they can enact out the story either on a felt board. It can be, figures, characters, stickers on a page. So story bags and story boxes are really fun for kids to help involve them in the story and engage and make them more interested.
yes.
Can come sit and listen, and and just make
One last prop.
silly.
Love
So
it.
the sillier it is, sometimes the more interested children are. So
Yeah. Those are excellent tips. Thank you so much. I love I don't know where you're sitting, but you must have a pool of in front of you of
I
props,
set it up. I
which
was
I love.
prepared. I
Very,
set it
very
up.
good. Yes, but really a whole bunch of excellent tips. I think
Yeah.
uh, shortening the books is a really good idea. Some books are very long. It's even hard for parents and providers to get through the books sometimes because they are quite intense. And so it is, I love that tip of, shortening them and then building on it, either as they grow or as they get more interested and so on.
Mhm.
So that is a really good tip. So all these were wonderful, especially around the theme of Halloween. It's such a fun time to have a good reading about books, different types of books about Halloween, and there's lots of topics to explore, as there is kind of every month. But thank you for joining us today. Um, these were super helpful, and everyone's going to really enjoy both readings of they have option A and option B to look at, and maybe both of the Pete the Cat, which is our book for the month. So
Yeah.
thanks again, Cathy, for joining us and for all the wonderful tips.
All right. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Bye.
Ciao, everyone.